This is going to be my review of the Mercedes AMG GLB35. This is top line spec. It's a 7-seater family SUV, but it's AMG line. So it basically gives you all the practicalities of being able to drive around 7 people in your family, but also some fun with some high performance. In terms of other specifications, so engine, I think it's 300 brake horsepower, 400 newton meters of torque. I might be wrong on that. You might have to check out some of the other videos. I'm not a car tech geek, so I'm not going to give you all of the crazy kind of spec. I'm going to give you the top line stuff. If you want that, you're going to have to go to another channel. This review is based on having this car or driving it for 271 hours, nearly 10,000 miles. So I've had it a substantial amount of time and driven it a fair amount over short and long distances to give you my honest opinion of it. And I think that's a great way to do a car review, you know, have it for a period of time and review it rather than kind of get dolloped with a car for a few days, drive it around and give an opinion. It's not really a real and fair opinion of how a car performs. Now, other spec of this car, it's a 4-cylinder engine. Previously, I've had an AMG E53 estate. That was a 6-cylinder. That car was a lot of fun. You know, it had an electronic engine to get off the line, 4-wheel drive, all that sort of stuff. Fantastically fast. But with that, as a 6-cylinder engine, comes the cost of feeding it. It was really expensive to run that car, and inevitably that was one of the reasons I kind of like got rid of it, because it was just really expensive to run. This, on the other hand, is 4-cylinder. And with that is great. You might think as an AMG purist or a motorhead, 4-cylinder is just not going to cut the mustard. But actually the 4-cylinder really has its own fantastic perks. One, it means it's far more economical to drive around on a day-to-day basis. You know, on average, I'm getting anything up to 38 miles to the gallon, which I think is fair for an AMG car. You're not buying an AMG for basically like fuel economy. You're buying it because you want to have fun. But if you can still be relatively fuel efficient in comparison to some of the other big cars out there, I think that's a great perk. So in standard kind of comfort mode, it's fantastic. It's comfortable, it drives well, it doesn't cost you the earth to do so. But when you want to put it in Sports Plus mode, which I'm doing now, you have the ability to enjoy an AMG, which is super exciting, without the cost of like just it driving you into the ground financially all the time, which is what the E53 did. In comfort mode, this is fine, drive it around, it's not costing me the earth. But when I do want to switch the switch and turn it into Sports Plus mode, I get the thrill of an AMG. Yes, when you do put it into that mode, you literally watch it drinking fuel because you are really putting to work this 4-cylinder engine. And that's to be expected. But again, it's like you're paying miles per smiles, you know, you're paying for the thrill of that. Like that's the fun of having a sports performance car, in my opinion. Where this car really exceeds as well is you have all that AMG fun, you know, it's stiff on the road, it's tight, it feels very dynamic and sporty, but you also have the 7 seats, you know. I have it configured to the 5-seat most of the time and make use of the boot space because I play rugby. It's great to put my kit bag in the back and stuff like that. But when you need to, you can pop the 2 back seats up and you have 7 seats. Now, we've previously gone out as a family and had 2 children in the back. I think the threshold for children in the back is probably around the age of like 10, maybe a kid that's up to sort of like 5 foot, you know, 4'9", 4'8" in the back, to just make sure it's comfort from a leg space perspective. Anything over than that is difficult. Adults in the back, I have sat in there. It's not massively comfortable over a long period of time, but you can still squeeze in a fairly sized, like adult. You know, I've been in the back there for a short period of time, it's okay, but I wouldn't do it over a long period. So if you've got a family and you have to run family errands and you've got to truck them between places, football, rugby, shopping, all that sort of stuff, taking stuff down to the allotment, you know, you've got a car that has the capacity to do that, but also you have the fun of an AMG. You know, this as standard comes with everything. So this car is around about 52,000, something along those lines, to buy it off the forecourt. But when you buy that, you don't have to consider anything else. You just have to consider what color. It comes with fantastic alloys and wheels, comes with all of the high-spec Mercedes stuff, so panoramic roof, you know, seat comfort control, seat memory, heated seats, you know, it's got a whole range of fantastic things. So USB charging ports, the charging ports are fantastic. You know, you've got 2 in the front, 2 in the center console. You then have 2 in the back, basically for the back seat, but then you also have an additional 2 each side in the boot space. So when you do pop down those 2 back seats and you've got kids in the back that need tablets and entertaining, you can keep them charged as well. So it's really well thought out, which I've really enjoyed it. So, you know, in terms of my review of it as a car, I've really enjoyed it, and it's probably been one of the funnest Mercedes that I've driven around in, and I would highly recommend it for people that don't want, like, if you're a guy and you've got a family and you have to succumb to driving a 4x4 to be practical for your family, but actually, you know, you've kind of got a bit of disposable income and that road is closed, so I'm gonna have to go on a diversion, which is great, I can give you more time to talk. So if you need a car that's practical and stuff like that, but you don't want to succumb to buying an ugly looking SUV without any performance, this is the car for you. There isn't anything else like it. There's nothing else in this category that compares. From my understanding, like I said, I'm not a car expert, I'm only going off of what I see on the roads. Some of the other things that I really enjoy about this car is, from a positioning perspective, the car's very boxy. And with that, it's very boxy in the back, okay? Which means it doesn't have a sloping roof, which means it's great to put additional stuff in the back, and you don't feel like you're compromising on looks and style to have far less boot space. You've got considerable amount of boot space, which is fantastic because it's boxy. It looks a bit like a baby G-Wagon, and it might be confused. You might be driving around in it and people think, God, you know, he's a wannabe, couldn't afford a G-Wagon, so he's gone and bought this thing here. And fair play, people might consider that, but a G-Wagon is not financially viable for a lot of people and might not be practical for a lot of people, you know, whereas this is considerably practical. And again, it's fuel efficient in relativity to what the car is actually offering. You know, it's not the most fuel efficient, it's not a hybrid, it's not that, but you're not getting an AMG for those purposes. If you wanted something that was more fuel efficient, you would probably look at like the GLC or something along those lines, or the standard GLB, you know. Standard GLB as an option, but if you wanted something that's a little bit more sexier and a little bit more kind of head turning on the road, then you have this GLB35, which is fantastic. You know, it's really been an enjoyable car. I'm gonna hate to see it go because I've had so much fun with it. So in terms of the next car I'm going to be looking at is the new C300, and it's the saloon as opposed to the coupe. So I'm going to be picking that up early September. So my time with this car has come to an end. And if you are in the market looking at cars and you're kind of considering this car, as someone who's driven around in it, would I recommend it? Highly. It's not for everybody, of course, but for me and my purposes and my needs, it served very well. But also, you know, I've just come back from the gym, I've just been to B&Q to pick some stuff up on my way home, and I'm out in the rural Essex countryside, you know, nice 60 mile an hour roads and stuff. So actually, I can stick it in Sports Plus mode and I can get a little thrill from it, which is great. The other thing that's a perk about this car is there's not a lot of them on the road. So when you're driving around and, you know, you're turning people's heads because they're kind of, you know, what the hell is that thing on the road? That's a great feeling. And I think that's what you do when you're looking at getting a performance car or something along those lines. You want people to kind of take note of you. If you're getting a performance car just for purely performance, this is not the car for you. Because like I say, it's only a 4-cylinder engine. You know, it's not the fastest, but it's still relatively punchy. So a couple of options. I'm going to stick it in Sports Plus mode now. We're kind of sat just at around about a 30 mile, we're on a 60 mile an hour road. And you can see this thing goes. Like, and that is a great feeling whilst I've got a boot full of paint, rugby kit and practical stuff in the back. I could also have a boot full of children, you know, with tablets being charged and them still having their fun, you know, fantastic car. So I think Mercedes have done a great job on this. And if you've enjoyed this video, please do let me know in the comments. If you've got any questions about this car, please do hit me up. If you want to find out some really technical stuff about this car, there are loads of other channels that have done fantastic reviews. Car Wow has done one, so it's well worth checking those out if you're a proper spec head. But as an owner who's driven this car and really enjoyed it, it's fantastic. The other great accolade is, as an AMG, you get to join the AMG Lounge, which is brilliant. So I've now had 2 AMGs. I'm part of the AMG kind of like community now, and that's a nice feeling, you know, as a car owner, to be part of like a kind of cool, sexy community for performance cars and stuff. So that's pretty much my review. I hope you've enjoyed it, and until next time, take care. See you later.